happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely going to want to check this one out. We're seeing another major blow being dealt to that corrupt New York Attorney General Letitia James, as it looks like Pam Bondi and the DOJ are gearing up to slap her with a racketeering RICO case in this one, guys, and I'm excited to get into it, so we're not straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
And now the Trump Justice Department may be a pain in her you-know-what. The Angle has obtained shocking allegations leveled by the Trump administration against New York Attorney General Letitia James. The Federal Housing Finance Agency has sent a criminal referral to the DOJ accusing James of mortgage fraud. In a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Director Bill Pulte says James appears to have falsified records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable loan terms. He cited a property in Virginia that she's allegedly claimed as her principal residence and a property in New York that she claimed as a 4-unit structure instead of the required, instead of a 5, which Pulte says means she was able to get a different type and more favorable loan.
All right, you guys, so as we probably all know by now, Letitia James has been wrapped up in a scandal for quite some time now, with the Justice Department seeking to bring criminal charges against her for her mortgage and insurance fraud allegations. But looks like things have taken a turn for the absolute worst in this one, as we have our lead man, independent fraud investigator Sam E. Antar, with a gift wrapped up real nice for the DOJ. Basically a prosecutor's guide to charging Letitia James with RICO racketeering. Things have just got serious. It says 12 frauds, 40 years, $10+ million enterprise defense operations that accidentally strengthened the federal case. New York Attorney General Letitia James just handed the prosecutors the final piece of their RICO puzzle. Okay, I'm very excited to get into this one. Initially, we just thought Letitia James was going to be criminally charged, prosecuted, maybe even removed from that seat as the New York Attorney General, but looks like things are getting worse than ever for her.
My mission is clear. I'm focused. I'm prepared. I'm ready. I've been trained by the best. I went to Howard University that overturned legal segregation in this country. I've been taught in those classrooms where Thurgood Marshall once taught. I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump, we're ready for you. We're coming for you. We're standing up for you. We're fighting on. We're not going down silent. Victory, my friends, is clear. It's now. And I'm not waiting 4 years. I'm waiting 2 until a speaker by the name of Hakeem Jeffries comes to bring us some rest. Come on, ladies, it's up to us. We saved this democracy before, we'll save it now. Let's go.
All right, so we're back here on White Collar Fraud. This is Sam E. Antar with a full breakdown of why Letitia James' crimes may constitute RICO racketeering charges. So we have to start off by a little lesson. What is RICO? Okay, so RICO is the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, enacted in 1970. This was Congress's response to organized crime that traditional criminal statutes couldn't address. Okay, while originally designed for the mob, federal courts have applied RICO to financial fraud schemes, political corruption, and real estate fraud enterprises spanning multiple properties and years. Okay, so let's look at the requirements prosecutors have to prove in order for it to constitute a RICO charge. Looks like they have to prove 3 elements. It's an enterprise affecting interstate commerce. This can be an informal or formal enterprise, a pattern of racketeering activity, at least 2 related crimes within 10 years. And we know Letitia James has a string of crimes dating back, 40 years? It was 1983, I want to say, all the way up until 2023. So she's got a slew of crimes, and it's all in that mortgage fraud, insurance fraud realm. So definitely relating. And then we have to draw a link, a connection between the defendant and the enterprise through criminal activity. And we all know Letitia James used her office of Attorney General in order to try to minimize the crimes that she has committed, get a lesser sentence. Then goes on to say the interstate commerce requirement is easily satisfied here through James' use of federally insured financial institutions and government-sponsored enterprise mortgages, which inherently involves interstate banking networks and federal oversight. All right, and then we have an example here that kind of parallels the situation with Letitia James. It's the United States versus Turkey. This dates back to 1981. Says the Supreme Court established that RICO enterprises can include both legitimate and illegitimate organizations, and specifically that enterprises encompasses any union or group of individuals associated, in fact, although not a legal entity. And essentially what this is telling us here is that RICO is very tricky. It's a weird act. It could cover a wide range, a broad scope of crimes that traditional statutes cannot. RICO, when it comes to, and what it's saying, illegitimate organization, it covers both illegitimate organizations and organizations that could be legitimate, which is a little bit confusing. And I can give you guys an example. So say someone owns a nightclub and it's ran and it runs legally, it abides by federal rules or regulations, but then they decide to start laundering money through the club, start laundering money. And that's where we start working our way into that realm of RICO racketeering cases. Okay. So we're moving forward towards the comparison of what constitutes individual mortgage fraud versus what is considered RICO enterprises. Understanding why James' conduct may qualify for RICO prosecution requires distinguishing between typical mortgage fraud and systematic criminal enterprises. Okay, so here we have the different elements. I'm trying to blow it up a little bit more. They're not letting me, but hopefully you guys can see this. We have the breakdown. So the first element is typical mortgage fraud versus James' alleged enterprise. Okay, so the duration is what's going to be one of the key factors. Was this just a single transaction or short period? We all know by now that Letitia James, her crimes stem all the way back to 1983. Wow, 40 years of systematic activity. So definitely constitutes RICO and that nature. Okay, and then the scope. You have one property. It's typically one property, one lender for typical mortgage fraud. James, however, had multiple properties. We know the Virginia and the Brooklyn property, multiple states, and multiple federal programs that she illegitimately qualified for, illegally, I should say. And then the participants, usually just one individual borrower in typical mortgage fraud. But in Letitia James' case, she used her government office as Attorney General as an operational hub, with staff even signing off and vouching for her in a sense, which then brings her into that RICO realm. Okay, and then the protection, usually folks just hope not to get caught, but Letitia James used her official position to minimize her consequence. She tried to use that Attorney General's office to say, hey, you guys cannot come after me. This is all, political. This is a revenge tour from Donald Trump trying to get herself off the hook, which we all know did not work. And then the typical response to an investigation, usually folks just hire a private attorney, but we see James with her partner in crime, Kathy Hochul, securing a $10 million taxpayer defense fund from the New York State taxpayers. Okay, so we definitely can see that Letitia James is not running a typical mortgage fraud scheme, or has not been. This has been a full criminal enterprise from Letitia James, which constitutes racketeering charges. Things are getting deep. So now we're getting into the rhythm or the pattern of this 4-decade-long systematic fraud coming from that Attorney General. It says Letitia James' conduct demonstrates the 3 essential elements that distinguish a RICO criminal enterprise from ordinary fraud. There is systematic methodology, coordinated participants from her staff, her office, and abuse of institutional authority spanning multiple jurisdictions. Unlike isolated mortgage fraud, her actions show the hallmark of an ongoing criminal organization designed to exploit official position for financial gain. Wow. Okay, so here's the breakdown, the analysis of the pattern. The frequency and success rate, the average frequency, one alleged misrepresentation every 3.3 years over a 40-year period. The success rate was 100% of identified mortgage applications contained alleged misrepresentation. The benefit consistency, every alleged false statement resulted in favorable financial terms. And then the geographic scope, we know this spanned from New York all the way to Virginia jurisdictions. And then here is a complete timeline of the property, the unit misrepresentations of the Brooklyn property. So this starts all the way back in 2001. And you can see that Letitia James is saying that this is a 1 or 2 family residence, the false representation. So she just was flipping the script. You can see she went from this, the residence remained the same throughout the whole thing. This was a 5-family dwelling, no matter what she listed, but you can see that her story changed many different times. You got 2001, she said it was a 1 or 2 family. 2003, it was a 4 family. 2005, she's still declaring it's a 5 family. Then 2006, times got hard. She started declaring that this is a 1 to 3 family residence. The next year, she's bold enough to declare that this is only a 1 to 2 family residence. This is a 5 family dwelling. Let me remind you guys, 1 to 2 family residence. And then getting all the way to recent times, 2021, she also declared this is a 1 or 2 family residence. So she was doing this very intentionally, and in order to get these more favorable rates and long terms. There's additional misrepresentations. We all know that she, for her Queens property, said that she was husband and wife with her father, her late father now. But we know this is a father-daughter relationship. Then in Virginia, the Sterling Street property, we know she said this was going to be her principal residence, but it was actually an investment property lended to her niece, I believe. So we have a pattern of this evidence, 12 documented mortgage misrepresentations spanning 4 decades, Brooklyn property consistently misrepresented across 10 different mortgage transactions, plus additional misrepresentation on Queens and Virginia properties. Each false statement consistently benefited James financially. So this is where we start working our way up into the RICO racketeering realm. We can see that she committed, this is a list of crimes right here. That's how I look at this. This is a list of crimes. And Letitia James has got herself on record lying in order to qualify for these, these assistant programs and more favorable loan terms, interest rates. So this is a list of crimes that we're seeing right here. At least I would say 10. Yeah, at least 10 crimes or 12 different crimes that Miss Letitia James committed, and it all works towards that racketeering case. So now we made it down to the section on why this qualifies as a RICO criminal enterprise. It says that James' conduct goes far beyond isolated mortgage fraud, which we could clearly see right there. What makes this potentially prosecutable under RICO is how she systematically leveraged her governmental office, staff resources, and official authority to perpetuate a multi-decade scheme across multiple jurisdictions. This isn't just a financial crime, it's corruption-enabled fraud using public resources, as we can see. All right, you guys, so we've clearly laid out why Letitia James' crimes qualify or constitute racketeering charges. Now let's see why the prosecutors would choose this or choose racketeering for her case. Beyond technical requirements, prosecutors have practical reasoning to deploy RICO against Miss Letitia James' alleged conduct. Says there's enhanced penalties. RICO allows up to 20 years per count versus a 5-year limitation on individual fraud charges. So per Letitia James, she's looking at a hefty sentence. That was 12 different counts that I would say. Letitia James falsely identify or falsely reporting her property. So wait, 20 years times 12. There is no way Letitia James is facing over 200 years if this is actually true. Asset forfeiture, so Letitia James could potentially go bankrupt, which it looks like that's going to be what happens here. It concedes all of her property derived from or used in the enterprise. And it says the statute of limitations, continuing conspiracy doctrine reaches time-barred individual crimes. The deterrent effect, RICO's severity deters other public officials from similar conduct. So this would definitely be a hard blow to face, and people could look back and say, all right, you remember what happened to Letitia James? We probably shouldn't be doing that, false reporting on mortgages. Then the last thing, it states public confidence. It definitely restores public confidence, showing that no one is above the law, regardless of position. Letitia James, like she's about to eat that very quickly, guys. And with that, I believe we're all the way filled in with the whole Letitia James scandal. I tell you guys every single time this thing, we're on the tip of the iceberg. even with the racketeering case now being on the table. Letitia James brought this all onto herself. She was silly. She was very silly to come after Donald Trump, and then she was even more foolish to come after Donald Trump while committing these fraudulent acts, mortgage, insurance fraud, lying all these documents. You really can't make this up. Which brings me back to this clip of the man who asked Letitia James, is she ready? Is she finally ready to apologize?
Yes, my question is for Tush James. Will you apologize to President Trump for wasting millions of dollars and the state of New York for a witch trial? And how does it feel to know that you will be in prison for mortgage fraud?
Thank you for coming.
Oh my goodness. Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. We got a whole nother element dynamic being introduced into the fold. Racketeering RICO charges may be coming for that corrupt New York Attorney General Letitia James, guys. And I can't even say I'm surprised. I mean, she was silly enough to bring all this onto herself, all the eyes, all the spotlight and attention. And now she has to deal with it. Frankly, she can't run away from this thing, saying that she's being bullied or intimidated, or this is a big revenge tour coming from President Donald Trump and his Department of Justice, because frankly, she committed the crime. Over here, we live by that saying, you do the crime, you do the time. And as Letitia James said it best, no one is above the law, regardless of the position that you hold. You said that during the entire Trump trial, where she was, wrongfully prosecuted, politically persecuting Donald Trump because he was running for that seat of presidency. Yet little did she know that he was going to get into that seat and that things would flip very quick when the investigation, the eyes turned into her doings behind the scenes. Oh my, this was a huge bombshell. Hopefully Pam Bondi and the Justice Department act quickly. Sammy Antar has laid it all out in black and white. This should be open and shut case, racketeering RICO. I'm excited to see how many years she is up for, guys. Definitely hop in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. I know you guys know a lot more than me when it comes down to the actual charging and sentencing. So how much time do you think Letitia James is going to get? Hop in the comment section, y'all. Let me know. Comments are, I actually love interacting and hear from you guys in the comment section. So definitely let me know what you guys are thinking. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you'd enjoy more content like this. Catch you guys on the next one week.